Hey, here we are again in OilChucked, the shitty fort of the giant coffin surplus. We've had some bad days here. We've had some, days. It's been a challenge, alright? Let's just admit to that. Let's just admit that we've had a few oopsies, okay? We've had some oopsies. It's a little bit of oopsie poopsies, some people have gone crazy. There's been some blood. There's some corpses. And I'm just gonna tell people to dump bodies and shit because, you know what? Fuck it. We've got rotting meat on the floor. It's not great. Fortress is crawling right now. It's gotten to that point in Dwarf Fortress where it is so crawling. And one of the things that I think that Dwarf Fortress really needs to do badly, and I'm not the only guy who thinks this is a common meme, is Dwarf Fortress badly needs for this game to run on multi-core threading. This game is just one of those things where it should not be running this slowly, but they couldn't predict the future. I don't think when they started this, they figured that this would still be in development now. And, if you have the future in mind, you can think of all sorts of crazy things. But for a game this complex, it just bogs down under the weight of it. But look at all this nice stuff. We've got a decent-ish fortress. Decent-ish. I've got a few people who are, of course, leaving some very nice comments, and some people are leaving some very not-so-nice comments. Some people obviously think I'm incompetent at this, which is absolutely true. This is not a competent playthrough of this game. I know just enough, I know just enough to be bad at this. And that being said, it's one of those things where I think a lot of people think this game is easy, and it ain't. But it's kind of weird, because, oh shit, is this guy still here? He shouldn't be. That is a rotten corpse, and that should be taken care of. Ideally. Alright, let's see if they'll just move this guy here. Ideally, I want them to put these bodies just not in the ground. I would like to see them actually bury them, because it adds to our mystique of the giant hallway of bodies. But yeah, what's really weird with Dwarf Fortress, and this is just something I've noticed, is that Dwarf Fortress is a game much kind of like Dark Souls. And some people are going to see what I'm saying, and some people are going to say, no, they're completely different. But my approach to this comparison, or contrast, however you want to put it, is that in Dark Souls, you have a game that appears easy, but has a lot more depth than you think it does. And I've never beaten Dark Souls. I played Dark Souls once for like 3 weeks straight. The first one on PS3, I think? It was a while ago. My roommate at the time had a PS3, and he almost died. He went to the hospital and was out, and he was fucked up. And I was the guy who took him to the hospital. I was the guy who took care of him, and so on. And so I had to go visit him like twice a day in the hospital, make sure shit was taken care of. And he, good friend of mine, and I was like manic. I was just in this manic state of, what do I do? And so one of the things I did was he always played Dark Souls. And that game was really big at that point. And I said, well, I'll try to play Dark Souls. So I made a character, and I would take my manic crazy energy and put it into that. And I found I was awful at it. Because I'm really bad at timing stuff. And there's a lot of timing stuff when it comes to Dark Souls. A lot. Dark Souls has a lot of timing things in it, and I was just absolutely shit at it. I mean, absolutely shit at it. And anyone who's seen me play games like that know that I'm like really bad at this sort of stuff. And that's, you know, fine. You're not going to be great at everything. I'm just bad at everything, you know? So that's how you know who I am. But one of my issues with Dark Souls, and I found this out. One of my big issues with Dark Souls and games like it is there's a lot of people who will watch an expert at it, like someone who's got it down just pat. They know how to dodge everything. They know the pattern of attacks. They know, oh, a poet's dehydrated. Well, drink your ink, okay? Leave me alone. But the thing is that you find that a lot of people will watch someone who's an expert at Dark Souls or whatever, and you'll see them doing their thing and having fun with Dark Souls, and they'll watch that, they'll read through the wiki and what have you, so they think they're an expert at it, and even though they don't play it, they'll make commentary. And I've noticed that a lot with like Dwarf Fortress, even people who are like fucking great, like cIrCus is. And I think cIrCus is great because he's fearless. He just goes, how do I do this? I don't know, let's figure it out. And I love that about cIrCus. I think he's like magnificent at this game. Let me turn that down just a tad. There we go. But no, the thing is like, I'm incompetent at this game and I get it, but there are people who go, Tex, what you need to do is XYZ, 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 and I will run it through people in the Legion who actually do know what they're doing and run fortresses really well, and they'll go, yeah, that was true 5-10 years ago. That's not even how it's done now. So you've got these kind of backseat drivers, and I think every game has those backseat drivers. I think that's just kind of how it is. Every game's going to have those people who say, well, here's how the expert does it, so I'm going to do it their way. And they don't realize that an expert has done that because that's how it works for them, you know? It's kind of like when you get into firearms competition. If you use the styles of other people and think this is going to work for me, that's probably not gonna, because stylistically, a lot of stuff is very personal, and what you do for yourself is going to be what works for you and not anyone else. But I encourage a lot of people to play Dwarf Fortress. I really want people to play Dwarf Fortress because games like this are rare. We live in this era of roguelites, not roguelikes. So you end up with a lot of games, I think, that are just absolutely trying to capitalize on roguelikes. Much like how there were a lot of people who, rather than playing retro games, are trying to invent new retro games. So you see a lot of stuff that's just like a really shitty or basic game that then is done in an NES or 8-bit style, and they go, oh, look at this, it's retro. Not really. Putting wood on a gun doesn't make it retro. Putting wood on your car doesn't make it retro. Putting wood on a TV doesn't make it retro. It's one of those things, is there's the genuine article, and then there's this simulacrum that's a later, you know, reimagining of what it should what it should be, but it's something that never existed in the first place. It's a creative reimagining. But I suppose that's all poetic nonsense. Today you learned a new word, simulacrum. Oh, God. Alright, we got this, we got that, everything's happy, good, good. Oh boy, what a day. You ever just wake up in the morning and you feel awful? And it's just one of those emotional awfuls, like you're just like, God, it's, you know. Oh wow, cow sweetbread stew, thank God, masterpiece. But no, I've just been waking up with a lot of anxiety and depression, and I'm doing what I like to consider the old 1950s man thing about it, where you're just like, meh, I'm just gonna drink some black coffee. I'm just gonna go to work, see? And we all cope. I mean, it's that whole Buddhist thing. Suffering is universal. You know, work your way through it. Acknowledge suffering is universal and make peace. There's also a disturbing amount of bones around the fortress, so I'm thinking I might get some guys to start carving shit out of them. Because, you know, if you got corpses and bones, you might want to make it work for you, right? Leather works, alright. See, I do read my comments. A lot of people want me to do X or Y, and I read through them, and I go, you know, that's actually pretty fucking smart. That's smarter than what I was gonna do. And if it's smarter than what I was gonna do, I'm gonna fucking do it, right? If it's smarter than what I was gonna do, yeah, it's one of those things of I'm probably gonna do that. Let's carve some stuff out of let's carve some stuff out of bone, right? Rock blocks and rock coffins, rock lobster. People are throwing tantrums. Look, oh my god, someone beat the bridge up. Someone actually beat the bridge up. I am horrified. Someone actually got in a tantrum and beat the shit out of the bridge. Could you imagine that? Like, you go outside and you see some guy who's so mad he's destroying bridges, like with his hands, just and you're like, oh shit. You know? Some people. I can't believe he's done this. That's part of my defenses, fucko. Alright, that's the right position. Alright. I just can't believe he did that. I think it's awesome that he did that, but holy shit. I mean, there's rotten corpses everywhere, so this is a pretty normal fortress. All things considered. I kind of wish Pablo came out here. Pablo's fucking great at this game. Pablo Ichiban. He's doing like a walkthrough of Dwarf Fortress for like idiots like me. Here's how to do some stuff. And he's great at it. Oh man. But yeah, his channel is Pablo Ichiban, Pablo-ICHIBAN. And if you want to see how like Dwarf Fortress should be played, watch that guy. He's great. I really like. All right, and we're back. There's a little bit of a hiccup in recording. I don't know what happened, but Pablo's fucking great at Dwarf Fortress, and you should check out his channel, Pablo-ICHIBAN. But I can't believe someone literally just punched the bridge apart. I've been mad before, but I've never been punch a bridge apart mad. You know, and there's layers of mad. I've been furious at many things before in my life, but bridge mad. Oof. Talk about that, huh? I feel this fortress is really circling the drain. I think it's gonna fall apart at some point in the near future. No more bards. Their frolicking is not acceptable anymore. Look, people are getting shaken a little bit. It's okay. People are getting fine coffins. Oh no, a poet was found dehydrated. How terrible. Ooh, I'm a poet. Did he write any verse? I read a really interesting thing the other day. It was a Zen master who was pining on that the Big Lebowski is a perfect example of Zen. And I rewatched the Big Lebowski and I realized that a lot of the things that the dude says could be interpreted as koans in many ways. Koans, cones, I don't even know how to say that. But I'll give it a Zen answer to it, which is we shall see. A good friend of mine became a Zen monk, and we rarely keep in contact as he's kind of gone on his own path. It's not that we're bad friends or anything anymore. It's just he's given up the need of like regular communication with people, and which is interesting because you can still have these wonderful communications with someone who's walking that path and they're still doing their thing. It's just he's in his own little world, and some of the shit he says is fucking hilarious. But you know, when I've been going through some stuff, I'll call him up or talk to him, and he'll give me some interesting insight, which usually I find infuriating at the time of him telling it to me, because his stuff is a lot of we shall see, and we shall see is kind of a Zen thing. It's very much a Zen thing. And that absolutely drives me nuts. I mean, it really does drive me nuts when he, you know, when you ask for advice and he's like, well, that could be the right way, or it could be the thing that destroys you. And you're like, motherfucker, just give me something enlightening. And he's like, enlightenment comes from within. And you're like, fuck. And then he's usually right, which is the problem, because then that leads to deep thinks, and I definitely don't consider myself philosophically in any of the big camps, because I have no idea what's going on in my life. I just know that I'm going to keep going and hope for the best. It's a hope for the best, prepare for the worst sort of thing, you know, wish in one hand, shit in the other, see which fills up first sort of thing. Which, you know, I think that some people are going to find that to be kind of fatalistic, but, you know, fuck it. Because I don't buy into this whole Zoomer boomer thing. I think it's amusing, but I think that there's a lot of people who are doomers and everything else, and like a lot of things nowadays, I think a lot of people are lost in this search of identity, where, you know, you say, well, I'm a blank, and I'm like, you sure? Because putting yourself into one of those camps is like getting a tattoo. It can be something you think of in the moment as being beds. Well, those are kind of beds. Why did I hit the wrong button? Well, maybe I was thinking the wrong way. Or was I? But yeah, you find a lot of people, I think, that are struggling for meaning, and they think that they need to positively identify with something, and I don't think they acknowledge that you might be struggling for meaning your whole life, and you might be struggling with who you are your whole life, and maybe you don't discover that. Maybe it's one of those things you don't ever get to understand. You know, maybe understanding is a fiction sold to us, and that the pursuit of it, like anything, is one of those quests that results in you finding yourself, or through the way, at least who you aren't. Because I think it's easy to say who you aren't. You can say, this isn't me, you know, this isn't for me. I've had a lot of those moments in my life, but I've never really felt certain who I am. And I think a lot of people out there are like that. I just caution a lot of folks. I think that a lot of people out there are trying to desperately say, I am this or I am not that. And I don't think we're ever going to figure that out. Just my opinion, though. I could be fucking wrong. Alright, I'm going to create a refuse area. Just over here, behind the tavern. It's going to be like that fryer oil area behind like a shitty restaurant. Are they gonna build my fucking bridge or what? The other thing I really don't get, and I used to engage in this until I realized I was doing it, and I realized how fucking stupid it was, is argue on the internet. People think that by having an opinion or expressing an opinion is going to result in like thunderous applause from your peers, and most people just don't give a shit. I mean, most people genuinely just, you know, don't give a shit. I mean, we all kind of seek that momentary entertainment. We all seek that, it's that Epicurean thing, you know, where we pursue pleasure and avoid pain, which I understand that. I think that's kind of hardwired into human behaviorism, but I don't get this whole thing of wanting to feel validated by arguing with people on the internet. I think that's crazy. I think a lot of people are crazy, though. I mean, I know I'm kind of crazy. Let's just put refuse in here, because I think I fucked that up. Refuse, yeah, okay. That'll work. We'll just start dumping shit in there. But the world we live in is certainly getting a lot more complex. Because if you look at access to information, we live in this information age where the access to information is paramount. We all have this tremendous access to endless information. I mean, even the obscure can be uncovered with a few keystrokes, which is pretty impressive. But we're losing the ability, I think, to digest information in a meaningful way. I think the ability to actually understand something has slipped a bit. And again, this is my opinion. I mean, I used to be a librarian, a research librarian at that, and I find that people just want that instant gratification. They don't give a shit about any deeper meaning to it, and especially with history. When I was a historian, I found that a lot of people just did not care about anything that led into anything. It was just fact, and all they wanted their Wikipedia version of history. You know, you choose your good guys, you choose your bad guys, and you write your narrative, rather than looking at something and examining it as a part of a whole. So it's kind of interesting to see the whole of that. And the reason I'm thinking about history is because I'm also thinking about these dwarves and the history they've left on this little world. And I know this is a big roundabout way to get to it, but I wonder, would this be seen 100 years from now as a successful outpost, like a trade outpost that had a specialization? Or would this be seen as just yet another boom town that boomed and busted because it was filled with incompetent dwarves? There's a lot to think about. Also, I realize when these wagons go out of here, they're going to have to go down that alleyway of puke, pass by the 100 or so bards that are going to go get, like, liquored up or whatever. And then they have to go by the giant piles of bones, and then that corpse, which they are now running over. And that's, oh no. Oh dear. I think the wagon's stuck. Oh man, the bridge is gone, so the wagon is, like, unable to leave. I think we may have a complication here, because someone punched the bridge apart, which, again, pretty fucking impressive. I've been mad enough to throw stuff before, but never punch a bridge. So it looks like we have a bit of a log jam, which I think I can solve. I'll just deconstruct part of this wall here. Oof. Okay, yeah. See, no wagon access. That's the issue. See, I'm learning some of these things, right? Okay, remove construction. Alright, as soon as we knock that wall out, these guys should be able to leave. But wow. We need to replace that bridge like right fucking now. good times. Good times. Nothing like having a big log jam. We got a traffic jam. We've got bodies being buried. Kind of. Okay, they're kind of being buried. Okay. We've got people who are mad, and we got people who are working. Just like any society, you know. Just like any society. There's people who contribute, and there's people who make noise. And again, I don't know, it's kind of weird on YouTube because I've had people like address me hatefully in contacts and comments, and I've been called a communist, a fence sitter, I've been called Reaganite Republican, I've been called libertarian, I've been called an Ancapistani, I've been called so many things by so many people that only know me through this, you know, video games. And I'm like, my response is generally, why? Why is that even important to you? Like, who honestly gives a shit? Whatever I am or am not is individual to that day, I think. I mean, we all have our days where we're like, oh, God, here's what we need to do, but individually, I'd like to say that I am, in fact, an individual, and self-determinism is one of the things I prize very heavily, but also, you know, like reasonable discourse between human beings with some measure of civility. Some measure, not tremendous civility, but, you know, I mean, because sometimes you gotta call somebody a fucko and get your anger out, but in the end, you gotta try to seek some peaceful coexistence with your fellow citizens and try to figure out a reasonable solution to things. Uh-oh, what is going on? Interrupted. Someone just gonna lose it? There's a bit of a fight and some blood there. Looks like everyone's getting a bit murdery. Is it the caravan losing it? Yeah, I think it is. We've got a proper amount of murder up here now. Oh man, it's playing the death notification over each other. Oh no. Oh dear. This is a proper throwdown now. Look at this. Something snapped and it's just wow. Listen to that. Someone killed all the bards. Wow. Oh no. Listen to that. Listen to it. This is insane. Oh my God, I'm just watching this. Wow. Yeah, well, we'll take another soldier right now. Let's see. For the record, for anyone watching this, i.e. Pablo, for when he dives it, this is our world, and we're located right here. Right there. Right in this little bit here. You follow the magic road, and there's where we go. Oh, my game's speed up? Wow, we lost 20 people. That's some shit. Yeah, so we've got a problem, and this is potentially going to contribute, because I think what happened is someone snapped having to stay here. And, that's where this all started to go downhill. Oh my God. Look, it's just, yeah, looks like caravan's pretty smoked. This is probably going to result in a bit of a war. A lot of people dying. Wow. So, nice. Well, this might be the end of this place. Holy jeebus. Yeah, I mean, my general statement on all of that stuff is, you know, I may disagree with you, but I will defend until death your right to disagree with me. And I think that's one of those things we have to think about. Is we're all in this shit together. And I think people forget that. I think, you know, we're pretty smart as a species. We went from banging rocks to being top of the fucking food chain, so, I mean, hell, I think we can do a lot if we just, you know, give up some certain stupidities along the way, but that's going to require a bit of pain. Learning is usually painful. You know, I mean, that's humanity, isn't it? It looks like I just inherited a bunch of stuff. Cheese. What happened to the last caravan? It exploded. Traffic jam. Anyone who's ever been in like heavy traffic is probably gonna get it. Nope. Shit. Oh well, I'll let that go for a bit and then we'll see. Oh boy. Oh boy, 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 boy. People are throwing tantrums. I think the tantrum spiral is going to eventually claim this place. Eventually. We're also going to run out of coffins. The brave dwarves. I didn't even get to do any of the big crazy stuff I wanted, but you know, it's kind of Dwarf Fortress. Chaos. You know, I think I've had about enough of this place. I think I'm gonna abandon it, and I'm gonna let Pablo Ichiban dungeon dive this. This is gonna go on as an abandoned fortress, because this has gotten just too crazy for me. Some people are gonna sigh, but next episode is gonna be Pablo Ichiban, and he's gonna dungeon dive this for us, and he's gonna show what this fortress looks like from an archaeologist perspective, and I really think that that's gonna be interesting. So, see you next time, friends. See you next time, and you know, stay at it. We'll get through this one day at a time.